Morning everybody and welcome to Tuesday's Maths. Right, today we are moving on to 3D shapes and our learning target for today is to identify 3D shapes and it will be also their properties as well. Their properties means the things that make them that shape. So we're talking about faces, we're talking about sides, we're talking about vertices, and we'll come on to that a bit later. So these are all shapes which you guys should be familiar with from lower down the school. So I've got a selection of these shapes, these 3D shapes here. If we were in school, then we would be using these, which are really helpful to actually kind of see the shapes and to recognise their properties. I'll talk more about that in a minute as well. Okay, so a bit of a recap there. These are some of the most sort of simple 3D shapes that you would have learnt first in probably Key Stage 1 actually, you would have learnt these. So we've got cylinder, cube, cuboid, cone, pyramid, sphere, hemisphere, and a triangular prism. Okay, so hopefully that's just a bit of a reminder from shape learning that you've done before. Right, this next one shows some slightly trickier 3D shapes. And what is lovely about this one is that it actually is these images are kind of like see-through. So you can sort of see through to the other side, you can see through the other faces of them as well. So here we've got some great shapes like a dodecahedron, different types of pyramids. So maybe some new shapes there that you hadn't heard of before. Okay, so have a look at some of those. Right, this is the important bit for today. So we've got to get our head around this for our work for today. So different parts, different properties of 3D shapes. And for this one, we've got a cube here. So we have the face. And the face is the single flat surface. Okay. Just like my cube here, it's the flat bits here. We call those the faces. So if we have how many faces has it got, it's talking about the flat parts there. Okay. Now a cube has 6 faces. I always think it's easy to remember a cube has 6 faces because if you just think of dice that we play with in board games, and those go from 1 to 6, that's a nice way of remembering how many faces on a cube. Okay, we've then got the edges. Okay, the edges are these straight bits between the faces. Yeah, an edge is a line segment between faces, but it's these straight bits here. So a cube has 12 of these. So it's got 1, 2, 3, oh, my hand's in the way, 4, then around the sides, 5, 6, 7, and one here, 8, and then at the bottom, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so easier to count when you've got an actual cube in front of you. Right, now this is a good bit of vocabulary. The vertex or the vertices. So if you've just got one, it will be a vertex, that's the singular, and 2 or more, the plural, is vertices. Okay, so that's pointing to one vertex. And a cube has 8 vertices. So let's count. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the other side, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So you might want to pause your video on this page while you're doing your work today. So if you're forgetting what each property is, that's a nice diagram there. So make sure you're really confident with this part of the slide here. Okay, now as I've said, it would be lovely if you guys all had a set of these kind of 3D shapes at home, because when you are counting the edges and the faces and the vertices, it's really lovely to actually have the shapes to use and to count yourself. Okay, now you can be a little bit inventive, and I've got these 3D shapes in my house, but I've got other examples of 3D shapes as well over here. Okay, so I've got a cylinder here, just a can of food. I've got, this is a present from Jess actually, I've got a sphere here. I've got a little party hat, which is, where's my other one? Which is a really nice cone, okay. My box of cereal, it's a little bit of a different version, but it is still a cuboid. And I've got a chocolate box here as well, which is a lovely 3D shape there, okay. So what you might need to do today is to go on a little hunt for objects which are 3D shapes around your house, and then you could use those to help you in today's work, okay. So for a cube, you might find a dice, cuboid, cereal, maybe a piece of fruit would be a nice sphere as well. If you don't have those, you can use these images as well, and this can help you a bit too, okay. But some people will find this easier than others. Sometimes it's easier to actually have the shape in front of you, so see what you can find at home. Okay, your task for today is to fill in this table which is in your answer booklets. First job is that you've got some anagrams. So these are 3D shapes, but the letters are all mixed up. So your first job is to decipher what word these are, okay? The next column, you've got to tell me how many faces it has, how many edges, and how many vertices, okay? The bottom, you've got, you need to do 2 of your own. So you can choose any 2 3D shapes from here or from here to finish filling in that table. Okay, have a go with that. We can do lots of talk about that during Zoom this afternoon.